Hi, it's Nicole, and today I'll be doing my June wrap-up. In June, I only read one book, and that was Exit West. I would describe the story as being a socio-political romance, sort of, and for me it definitely ticked all of the boxes. It had really interesting characters, the story was compelling, and had a lot of socio-political commentary. I like that both of the characters were really different, and even though I definitely related to one more than the other, there was still a lot of empathy built for both characters, and they felt very realistic to me, and I didn't feel like I wanted to blame either of them for when things went not so great. I felt like a lot of the decisions that they were having to make and a lot of the crossroads that they were at were genuinely difficult issues, and even if at some points I felt strongly that I might do one thing or another thing, I still understood how the other choice or choices were also very compelling. Because I've only read one book in the month of June, and I thought that might make for a really short video, although if you would prefer in future if I've only read one thing or two things that I just keep it as a really short wrap-up, then that's fine, I'll do that. But I just thought I might chat a little bit about the books that I'm currently reading, and the ones that I'm actively currently reading, because at any one time I have loads of books that I've dipped into or that I've stepped away from significantly enough that I wouldn't call it actively currently reading. So at the moment there are two, and the first one is Noire, métier, which I had started a while ago and then I've come back to now. It kind of reminds me a little bit of The Good Immigrant, which was a UK publication talking about minorities in the UK and feelings of belonging and nationality and all of those kinds of things. Those are all things that are coming up in this book as well, but this one has the added consistent thread of also being a woman. And there's been big differences so far in some of the authors that I really enjoy and other ones that I really don't. And one of the chapters I really didn't like, it felt a little bit convoluted to me. It was just heavy with loads and loads of metaphor or unnecessarily high register vocabulary and things like that that just felt like it cluttered it. And I don't feel like it's because I was reading in French and having to really concentrate. I feel like that is something that would annoy me even if I were reading in English, and I didn't get on with that chapter. But there are other chapters that I felt like read a lot more smoothly, and of course there are some chapters that I'm completely neutral about and just not bothered either way. It's made me aware of a lot of different actresses that I would never have known about, and maybe I can seek out some of their films to see what they are like actually acting. And the other book I wanted to mention is Out of Mao's Shadow, and I think I'd left it when I'd started the Low Impact 30 challenge in May, and I've just come back to it now and I'm about 100 pages in. Sometimes it's a bit hard for me to follow because I'm not as familiar with Chinese history in general, recent or otherwise. So there are some times where I'm having to really try to ingrain it into my mind that this is happening in the 90s, this is happening in the 70s, and try to like equate that to what I do have a reference point for. I find it all really fascinating, but I'm also keenly aware that this is just one perspective, and it might well be that I don't need to be super skeptical as I'm reading or anything like that, but I am just very, very aware whenever I'm reading something that is about a topic that I'm not at all familiar with, not to take on board too much just this one perspective on that thing. It's also made me really want to find out more about China in general, present day, modern history, and older history. Like I said, there are a few other bits and pieces that I have going on in the background, but really those are the two books that I'm reading at the moment the most actively. But that's it for my June wrap-up and my currently reading. I hope that wasn't too short or too boring or too long, but I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!